Hey everybody, today we are doing Epcot like it's 1985. So come with me for this classic look at vintage Epcot Center, circa 1985. My first trip here. I got you. Let's go do this.
Experimental, prototype, community of tomorrow.
So there are a few rules for this nostalgic vintage look at Epcot. Obviously, I picked the year 1985, so we're gonna do everything that we can do here that you would have been able to do if you came here in 1985. Now, we were trying to think about when was my camera's going crazy. We were trying to think about when was my first trip here, and it was somewhere around 1985. The park, of course, opened in 1982, but considering we're doing it like it's 1985, that means no fast passes. That means no phone usage to figure out what's going on. And we're only going to do things that you could have done then. We're going to talk about how things have changed over the time, when things have been reimagined or renamed or whatever. We're going to do it. This is going to be a nostalgic look at old Epcot or Epcot Center. We're going to take a stroll down memory lane. So come with me. We're going to have a lot of fun doing this. I can't wait. Let's go do it. Now, when you talk vintage Epcot, even the moment that it opened, the ball was here. You immediately think of that icon, huge Spaceship Earth, the geodescent dome above everything here, the big geodome. It's like 185 feet. And it's the icon of the park. It's what you associate with Epcot and old Epcot Center. And the ride that was here opening day, and it was definitely here in 1985. It is still one of my favorites. That is Spaceship Earth. I can't think of a better way to kick off a nostalgic look at Epcot than riding Spaceship Earth. Let's go do it. A slow-moving journey to the past that explores how the future was invented, one step at a time. Yeah, that's perfect for a ride back into 1985. We're headed in to travel back in time and to 1985 on Spaceship Earth. Here we go.
Also brings with it the dawn of great civilizations.
It is almost time to thank the Phoenicians, which is definitely retro Epcot. Very nostalgic. That rocks it like it's 1985, and then on back. You are Marty McFlying it back to the future there on your way back around. But we go way into the deep prehistoric past, and when you come out, you're in this area out here, the, what's it called? I forget. Project Tomorrow. It's called Project Tomorrow. I'm losing my mind. But this in here is really a callback to like the old school Epcot Center edutainment. When in like 1985, when you came here, there were places like World of Energy or World of Motion, stuff like that, where you could go in and it was very futuristic to have like touch screen computers and things you could do with like touch screens. You could put together the American flag like via touch and drag and drop. That was super futuristic in 1985. There was lots of hands-on stuff, and you still get a little bit of that in here. So I definitely like that. Check it out. Lots of hands-on stuff for transportation. You see all the kids working on these different machines. you still have touch screen stuff. You have interactive things with the globe up here. You can see where you're from planted up there. All kinds of stuff. Lots of transportation related stuff. And if you know much Disney history, you know Walt was like in love with transportation. So that totally makes sense. But you could sit here and hands-on, like virtually drive a car. That's super cool. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do in here is related to transportation, energy, things like that, that still really are a callback to what Epcot's center's sort of thesis was, which was edutainment. Check it out over here. All kinds of interactive games. A lot of times people just pass right by all this stuff. Related stuff, medicine, very much old school. You got your 3D glasses over here. Use these for some of the interactive things in here. Did you even know those were in here? Now, obviously, some stuff dropped because we have so much computer power in our hands with our cell phones and things like that. But like back in 1985, that was some futuristic stuff, man. I know I was there. We didn't even have a computer in our house until I was in high school. So, you know, in high school, I had a typewriter typing my stuff out. So, 1985, this callback, full of nostalgia. Definitely love it. Now, believe it or not, the Coral Reef restaurant was here in 1985. All of everything was not open and ready and stuff over here, but you could dine at the Coral Reef restaurant and look into the aquarium. So that has not changed. Yes, decor changes and updates and things get cleaned up and all that, but the Coral Reef restaurant was here. You could come into Epcot Center in 1985 and dine under the sea and check out the animals, the fish, while you were eating the fish. So it was here in 1985. Let me know if you knew that or not. Doing Epcot like it's 1985 means that we can go into the Land Pavilion. Yes, the Land Pavilion was here. No, Soarin' was not here. There's also another ride in here that was here and it's pretty similar but has a different name. We're gonna go in here and check it out and check out everything that was here. Get out of the heat. It was hot in 1985, it's hot now. So the Land Pavilion was here. It was really part of that, you know, nature and energy and transportation and edutainment that Epcot Center was built on. It's filled with nostalgia. Now it's filled with nostalgia for generations afterwards because everybody's favorite ride, family ride, seems to be Soarin'. But that wasn't here. One of mine is here and was here. Let's go do it. If you guys want to know what I'm going by to keep me on track to make sure we're doing stuff that's legitimately 1985, I have downloaded the 1985 guide map. Very cool. We are now in the Land. Whoops, that's Hollywood Studios. We are now in the Land. If I can find it again. There we are. So in here in the Land, the Garden Grill restaurant in 1985 was actually here. It was not called the Garden Grill. It was called the Good Turn restaurant. And why? Because it turned. It still turns. It's called the Good Turn restaurant, and I believe that was from 82 to 86. And then in 1986, it became the Land Grill up until like 1993 or 1994, and then it became the Garden Grill, which is now still a rotating restaurant. It is a family-style food service restaurant with characters. You can meet Mickey, Chip and Dale, those guys in their Farmer's Best. Here you can see the Land ride while you're eating as the thing rotates. But it was here in 1985, so if you want to do it like it's 1985, you can come to the Garden Grill. It's still here, just a different name. Sunshine Seasons is much the way it was in 1985. I mean, decor and stuff changes. It's hard to keep up specifically what decor changes, but it was not called Sunshine Seasons in 1985. I believe it was the Market. It was just simply called the Market, and it was still a place, a quick service style place where you could come in and get food and refreshments and you know, chill out in here in the Land Pavilion. But now it's called Sunshine Seasons, and I'm sure somebody's gonna tell me I'm wrong about the Market, so I'm gonna look it up and make sure that I'm right. There's a lot of stuff to remember. It was called the Farmer's Market, and they served all kinds of stuff. You could get ice cream, cookies, soup, salad, sandwiches, cheese, potato. There was a potato bar here, which is interesting, barbecue, and a full bakery shop. So they still serve cookies, and I got a cookie because I was coming here for a cookie anyway for another video for my best cookies. Make sure you check that one out when you get it. But a little quick preview, it's a honeybee cookie. So it was here in 1985. I'm gonna sit here and enjoy it like it's 1985. We got a little bit more to do in here before we go and finish our little walk down memory lane in here in the Land Pavilion. I'll catch you in a few minutes. All right, doing it like it's 1985 means we are gonna get on living with the land, but we're not gonna call it that. We're gonna call it what they called it in 1985, which is listening to the land. Now, it's pretty much the same ride. The big difference is they used to have boat captains, kind of like the Jungle Cruise. They don't do that anymore. It's a recording, but it is still mostly the same ride, so I think it fits in. Let's go do it. Here we go.
A manera de recordatorio, no tomar fotos con flash y luz de video.
Y'all getting all this?
The hard surface of this land.
We're coming up on my dream house. I want an updated farmhouse in the country, about 30 minutes or so from the city, and cornfield and plant pumpkins and all that stuff.
Of all the forces at work on the land, humans have had one of the most profound effects. The need to produce food for a growing world led to the enormous use
I love it.
and sometimes overuse.
It's like Smallville,
In our search for
the
more
Kent farm.
efficient ways to grow food, we often fail to realize the impact of our methods.
I always love living with the land. And like I said, in 1985, it was called Listening to the Land. And it's still kind of pretty much that. You just don't have a boat captain. They have added some things in there, some like little Easter eggs and stuff for like Snow White and Winnie the Pooh and such as that. So that's very cool, making it very interesting. It takes a lot of people, and it makes it, go by really, really quick. So that's always a plus. And it's a classic. It is vintage Epcot, and it finishes out our little stop in 1985 in the land over here. And it's time to go on and do some more, living it up like it's 1985. But we are exiting the Land Pavilion, and there is something else that was here from opening day, so definitely here in 1985, that is iconic in another way to the park. We're gonna go check it out now. Well, you might be surprised to know, if you don't know a lot about Epcot, that Figment has been a part of Epcot since it was created. He was the icon. He was a figment of imagination that was created to be sort of the spokesman, unofficial spokesman, icon of this park, character of this park. And Journey into the Imagination with Figment was here in 1985. Now, it has undergone some changes over the years, but essentially it is still here. You could have came to this building in 1985. You can come to this building now, so let's go do it.
A series of tones. Left ear, right ear. Left, right. What? Is it on? Hello? Who is this?
It's Figment!
Figment? I thought I told you not to interfere.
But you've got it wrong, Doc. It's not about listening with your ears. It's about listening with your imagination.
Now I've completely lost my train of thought.
All right, so Figment, old school Epcot 1985 style. Been revamped several times over the years, different casts, different things to do, but Figment and this area have been here. The Journey into Imagination has been here since 1985. The ride doesn't hit home for me, but it still has a lot of stuff out here that you can do when you come out that's interactive, so that's still that old school Epcot edutainment, and you can come in here and rock it with Figment like it's 1985. Only recommend doing that if you really got to stroll down every step of memory lane, or if it's 1,000 degrees outside and there's not a lot else to do that doesn't have a long line. There is something else over here right behind Figment that is pretty similar to how it was in 1985, and it's the magic jumping water fountains. I bet you I can find either a picture of me in front of this as a kid or some video of this. Check it out. The jumping water. Believe it or not, that water jumping like that was a big deal in 1985. 1982 when it opened, 1985 when I was a kid. That was a big deal seeing something like that. I'm going to tell you right now. Now, when it comes to vintage Epcot 1985 World Showcase, we could literally make a 3-hour video because a lot of the stuff that's here now was here then. They've added some stuff. Now, there were a couple of countries that were not here. Norway was not here, for instance, so there definitely was no Frozen ride here at that time. So you're down a couple of countries, and there were not all the same amount of attractions. So, I mean, we know Remy is pretty new in France. But back then, the really only like ride was the here I go again, Del Rivers de Tiempo, the Rivers of Time. The current Grand Fiesta Tour was the only like actual ride attraction in the World Showcase. Canada has its Circle Vision show. China had its Circle Vision show, and you had Impressions de France, I believe, which is just another show. So like at that time, Walt, they had been into, really doing the Circle Vision and bringing that to you in a surrounding way like never before. So all of those were here. We're not going to go through all of those. Those were here then, they're here now. Obviously there's a lot of stuff added. Something else that was in Canada at the time was Le Cellier. It was here in 1985. And I'm going to show you, we're obviously not going into Le Cellier. What I'm going to do is just kind of hit some of the highlights of what was here then, talk about how it's changed since then. But Le Cellier, good, hey, good steak in 1985, good steak in 2024. Good steak's good steak. So the UK was here. Obviously, I think I was trying to remember, but it was only, I double checked, it was only Norway that wasn't here then. So obviously no Maelstrom yet to be converted into Frozen later. But the UK was here. And the highlight of that to me is the Rose and Crown. It was here then, it's here now. It's a frequent stop for me. Might as well go in and pop our head in. I say we have a toast of a snake bite in here to 1985, to kicking it old school, to Walt Disney, who without all this it wouldn't have been possible, and to nostalgia and the memories that keep us young forever. That's good. Now, our next stop on our nostalgia tour here is France. But as you know, Remy is just a couple years old, so that expansion, that definitely was not here in 1985. But Chefs de France, you know, a lot of what you see was, and obviously the big icon, the Eiffel Tower, that was here in 1985. So you could come here, and most of the architecture outside of the expansion is gonna look largely the same as it did in 1985, you know, about 40 years ago. Ouch. As far as nostalgia goes, like, I wish that I could put a film filter like it's 1985 over this whole pavilion and let you see it. And you know, it's sort of like you just had to be there kind of thing. It felt like it was more, I don't know, but it still looks pretty much like it did then. I love that, and might as well get something over here to toast that up. We are walking through Morocco right now, and while a lot of the architecture is the same, minus a certain wall back there that became very famous for photos, we won't. It's definitely no. You know, it looked like something. Most of that architecture is the same, but I believe the only thing that is still here from 1985 that hasn't been renamed or changed a lot is Restaurant Marrakesh, and Restaurant Marrakesh has been closed. So, you know, it's not the biggest pavilion here. I actually like the Tangerine Cafe. I love the bread there. Oh man, the bread with the dipping sauces, so good. But probably not the pavilion you want to go to soak up those nostalgic vibes. Now, if you want to do Japan like it's 1985, it's going to start by getting your photo in front of the big temple or in front of the big symbol with the Spaceship Earth in the background. As a matter of fact, on the old guidebooks from 1985, these were Kodak photo spots pointed out. And you know, I can't remember, but it hasn't been that long ago. They still had like good photo op spot signs posted out there, and they still might. I just haven't really looked for them lately. But it was posted in the guidebook. So those were iconic in 85. They're iconic now. One thing that was there then that is here now is the same as the Mitsukoshi department store in here. Now this is the store where like my son would like to go in because they've got a lot of Nintendo stuff. They've got all kinds of things. They've got some authentic stuff. But it was here in 1985. It's here now. But if you're really wanting to rock the nostalgia vibes here, it's going to come with photos like here or here. It's blinding sun right now, but you catch my meaning. All right, time to go on to America, the American Pavilion. In 1985, one of the few attractions in the World Showcase was the American Adventure, hosted by Ben Franklin and crew, and it is still here. It's a show. It's like 20 minutes or so long, but you can go in and it kind of takes you through the history of the American Adventure, and hell, let's go do it.
Flags from our country's early history. You will see colonial flags, revolutionary flags, territorial, expedition, and even some of the earliest versions of our country's stars and stripes.
Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to secure these rights, government.
It has definitely undergone some changes over the years, but I mean, obviously it has to, because in 40 years you're going to have new developments in America, new people to add to it, new heroes, things like that. I do not approve of LeBron James over Jordan for basketball, for the icon you're going with. No. But again, I'm an 80s kid, and you know, it's cool, and it is definitely nostalgic in so many ways. I think it fits in perfect with our stroll back to 1985, gets you all the feels and the nostalgia going. I love it. All right, let's keep on cruising through the past. All right, we are over here in our trek back through the past in Germany, and you're gonna have to deal with my bald head for a minute because it is hot and I gotta get some air. But I was just here recently and did a full deep dive into everything awesome in this pavilion, so make sure you look for that and check it out. But that's because most everything that's here now was here in 1985. Most of the names haven't even changed. Caramel Kucha, that name has changed to that. But like Beer Garden was Beer Garden. It was the same restaurant. Most of that stuff was the same. So let's check some of it out.
Now, interestingly enough, the Germany Pavilion here at Epcot is actually one of the smallest pavilions here. It doesn't have a ride. It was supposed to have a ride. It was supposed to have a ride right over here behind me, right here, where it says Summer House. It was supposed to have a ride right there that was going to be a boat ride similar to Maelstrom a little bit, or the Frozen today, called Over the Rhine. But when this was built, Germany was still divided into East and West Germany, and we'll mention that later because there are some shout outs to that in one of the stores over here that I actually have a piece of. But it was supposed to have a boat ride. There was even talk about a Matterhorn style ride here with bobsleds and things like that. It never materialized. To this day, it still hasn't materialized, despite the fact that there is plenty of expansion space back here. It's definitely something I would love to see. I think Epcot needs some more authentic rides. So a boat ride, or definitely a bobsled style Matterhorn ride back here in the Germany Pavilion would be awesome. But there is a lot crammed in to this pavilion. There is the very popular Caramel Kuka, never gonna say it right. It means caramel kitchen, presented by Werther's. It has all of your caramel treats, the caramel popcorn, plus some of my favorites, and we'll get to that here soon too. You have the Steinbaus, where there's lots of steins. We're gonna check all this stuff out. You have the Weinkeller, which is a very popular spot for drinking around the world, and you'll see why. I've been in there before. And you have the Beer Garden restaurant, where it celebrates Oktoberfest all year long and has one of my favorite tricks ever. When you go inside to sit down, it looks like you're outside even though you're inside, outside at night. Very cool. We're gonna check that out later too. We're going to eat at the Beer Garden restaurant on this adventure. But we're gonna check out all these stores. There is a lot. You can grab food, you can grab drinks, and of course during the festivals, they have the Pastoral Palette. It's also called the Farmer's Basket sometimes in Germany, depending on the festival. We'll take a look at all of that and make sure that you get everything that you want out of when you come to the Germany Pavilion. It's one of my favorites. Toast to Germany. Let's get to it. I told you I was in here and I did up Germany the right way. I'm gonna do that for every land here. And so make sure you check out all that stuff. But I love this place. Maybe part of the reason I like it so much is because it's so unchanged. So if you wanted to rock it like it was 1985, pretend like you were back in time, Germany would be a good place to start because it hasn't changed much. All right, I gotta get my hat on. We got more to do. Well, when you come to the World Showcase and you come to 1985 China Pavilion, actually you can't go to 1985 China Pavilion. You can go to 2024 and see how much it's like 1985, which is what we're doing, but in a way you can go to 1985 because it hasn't changed very much at all. They still have a Circle Vision type show here. The big everything is the same. Most of the architecture is the same. It still has no ride. It had no ride in 1985. And the interesting thing about this land is they had space when it went in because there was no Norway. Norway is the next land over. There was no Norway when it went in. So I'm not sure why they never did a ride here. I guess they figured the Circle Vision was enough. And the architecture here is beautiful. So if you wanted to come here and get pictures and age them with some software, you can pretty much still pretend it's 1985, especially if you photoshopped out a few of the more contemporary looking signs, little small signs that have stuck up, because most everything else still looks pretty much the same. All right, it's time to go bypass Norway because it wasn't there in 1985. It disappeared. Well, I was about to say it disappeared like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future, but that's not true. It would have had to exist first. In our time period, it's disappearing. All right, journeying back through 1985. We're circling back around, coming back through the Mexican Pavilion, which is where we spent a lot of time earlier today. When you're talking about vintage Epcot and doing Epcot like it's 1985, and you come through the Mexico Pavilion, there are a lot of things that were here because this pavilion was here. The San Angel Inn and Restaurante were here, and so was the Mexican Pavilion, obviously, the market in there. A lot of what's here now was actually here in 1985. Some of it might be by different names, but it is one thing to have things that are, you know, stationary, permanent, like a building or whatever that existed in 1985 or all those years ago when it opened, versus things that are live and ever changing, like mariachi music. And the mariachi band has played since this park opened, and
You know, the park opened in 1982. We're doing Epcot today like it's 1985, and they were here, and they're still here, and I'm here for it.
Mariachi Cobre, and we have made our home at the Mexican Pavilion since the day it opened its doors back in October of 1982. So for these 42 wonderful years, we've been a part of the Disney family thanks to all of you that take time out of your busy Epcot day. So thank you so much for that. And we started with a beautiful song from the region of Jalisco. That was El Son de El Suchi. We're going to play for you now a beautiful song written by Roberto Cantoral. Él fue un gran compositor mexicano con música muy bonita. But before that, amigos, actually, can I ask you to get a little closer to the rope if you can? You're gonna want to get close to this one. This is a beautiful romantic song. You want to hear it better? And then our friends behind you aren't too far away. Again, vamos a tocar esta bonita melodía en la voz de Miguel Molina. He's going to sing for us a beautiful love song called La Barca.
Like he said, the mariachi band has been here since day one. Very vintage Epcot, very 1985 Epcot. Definitely part of our vintage Epcot day, doing it like it's 1985. I love it. All right, so our search for doing Epcot like it's 1985, vintage Epcot, brings us over here to the Mexican Pavilion. I am standing at the side entrance to the pavilion. The pavilion was here since day one, so it's definitely here in 1985. It is classic vintage Epcot. Let's go check it out. When you're talking vintage Epcot and doing Epcot like it's 1985, of course, like we said, everything in the Mexico Pavilion was pretty much here, but one thing that was definitely here was the main restaurant in this pavilion, the San Angel Inn and Restaurante. It was here. So when you're talking vintage Epcot or vintage Disney, it does not get more vintage or classic to me than Donald, because Donald is my favorite. And this ride in the Mexico Pavilion has been here since it opened, so it's definitely here in 1985. But it was called, I think, and I tried to get this right on another video, the Del River de Tiempo, or the Del Rivers de Tiempo, Del Riviera de Tiempo. I'm sorry, my Spanish is not good. But what it meant was the rivers of time. And in 2017, it closed and was rethemed to the Grand Fiesta Tour, starring the Three Caballeros with my man Donald. And it's just a relaxing boat ride. I love riding through the part where the temple and you see the restaurant. It is classic Epcot. It is vintage. I remember riding it when I was a kid. I'm doing 1985 because I believe that was the first time I was here. We're trying to confirm that. 1985. I remember doing it as a kid, so let's go do it now. And yeah, I'm going to keep saying it. Party like it's 1985. So this ride, like I said, has been here since it opened. Things have changed, but one thing it is not. The opening part is my favorite. I love seeing the pyramid. It is really just the stuff with Donald and the Three Caballeros that has changed in 2017. But it's still a nostalgic, classic, dark boat ride here. Nice way to cool off and kind of transport yourself back in time the way it was originally intended. And that's kind of fitting. We're not done yet. We still got some Future World stuff to go. But it's kind of fitting because a lot of this pavilion is still here and still named the same. I mean, the Cantina was here. The San Angel restaurant was here. This pyramid was here. The mariachi band was here. All of the stores inside, besides La Cava del Tequila and the market. Most everything in the Mexico Pavilion was there in 1985. So it makes sense. It makes sense to circle back through there again on our way into Future World to wrap up this trip to 1985 Epcot Center. When it comes to rocking it like it's 1985, there's one more big thing here in Future World that you're probably not even thinking of that is still here, kind of. It has undergone maybe the most changes and the most, like, the biggest changes visually, and it just reopened not too long ago after a very, very lengthy refurb and remodel as part of Walcott that was happening, and that is Connections Eatery. Now stay with me. Connections Eatery initially, all the way through, like, I believe 1987, was Stargate. Same kind of quick service eatery. Then it became everything everybody knows, loves, and remembers, the Electric Umbrella. It was the Electric Umbrella until the closure in like 2019, 2020 when it closed down. And then it's been remodeled into Connections Eatery. So it started out as Stargate, then Electric Umbrella, now it's Connections Eatery, but the spirit of it and the location of it still remains. It's still the same. The heart is still there. So you can kind of go in there and know that you're still sort of in the same kind of place, but a different time. And here it is. Let's go check out Connections Eatery. I kind of like the fact these little zigzag lights kind of are reminiscent of some design stuff that you might have gotten at the Electric Umbrella, and also of 1980s kind of neon style. It's so funny because it wasn't that long ago, like, we were here in like 2018 or 19 with the family, and we all ate at Electric Umbrella, and then next thing you know, it was just closed, and then Disney closed, and then it's gone, and now it reopens. So that tells you how fast something that you've always, like, kind of known and remembered can go away. So appreciate the stuff while it's there. And I think I'm gonna have me a little slice of pizza, because what is more synonymous with the 80s, like 1985, than a good slice of pizza? I think maybe that's one of the reasons pizza is my favorite food, because I'm such a nostalgic person. And I remember in like late 80s through the early 90s when we had a little bit more money, and we could order out pizza or get pizza like on Friday night and like rent a movie and stuff like that. Those were great childhood memories, man. You were like high rolling if you could go to like your local video rental place, a mom and pop place, or Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, and get you a movie or two if you lucked out and got that new release you wanted. And then your parents were ordering some pizza, like some Domino's or whatever, Pizza Hut, whichever one was your favorite, had it delivered. Hey, y'all know back in the day, Domino's, without GPS or anything else, you could call them on the phone and they would take your order on the phone, write it down, cook the pizza, and send out those delivery guys with like no GPS or anything else, like they're, Magellan out there, and they would find your house in 30 minutes or less, or $3 off. I always think about 1990 Ninja Turtles movie. They can't find him because they're down in the sewer, and he's like, "Sorry, dude, you're 3 minutes late." And he's sitting down there counting it down. Pizza dude's got 30 seconds. But I mean, that all kind of gives me those nostalgic vibes, and we've been rocking through 80s style Epcot Center, so why not finish it off here at Connections Eatery, formerly Stargate, formerly Electric Umbrella, with some pizza. Oh, I love pizza. I love nostalgia. I love Disney. I love Disney nostalgia. I love the 80s. Y'all know this. It makes me happy. All those things together make me happy. Today has made me happy. This stroll down memory lane on what it was like to be at Epcot, a little taste of it in 1985. That's pretty awesome. Epcot Center, that is. I still catch myself calling it Epcot Center. Let me know if you do. Let me know if you've enjoyed this. I would love to go more in depth in other parks and come back to this park and do it if you guys enjoy it. I'm trying to work in the background on a Walt documentary and some stuff like that. So let me know if you enjoy this kind of stuff, and I'll do more. And until next time, this is Chase with American Vintage Adventures saying have a great AVA day, and let's get back to the future, baby. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.